Okay, so this is the exhaust, and all it is a couple pieces of 1/16th, or sorry, 1/32 sheet, and then I have two pieces. You can see the color of the paper from the pattern, and I cut a little V out right there where I pointed. There's the little chip that came out. That is so you can bend it like so. So put a little glue in there, because in the real airplane, the exhaust, it's like a saxophone exhaust, and it bends down and then faces backwards. So I bend that down, get it about the right angle, hit it with some accelerator, and then you just start sanding. So when I edited this, it was whatever, 10 minutes of sanding. So I edited it down mercifully to a small few minutes worth here, seconds worth. But basically taking sandpaper and trying to roll over the edges as best as possible. In the real airplane, I think they're kind of more square. And they're also thinner, I think. When I was done with this, I used it, but I think it's probably a little thick. In some cases, though, to get a nice round corner and in edges, I just wrapped a handle of a brush with some sandpaper and then went around and did stuff. But this is just sort of a compilation of you just sand it until you like it. And that was pretty good. Much better than what it started with. And then I colored it up with different types of marker just to make sure it looked pretty good and uniform. And now all you do is pop it right in there. And again, it's engineered very well and printed, so it fits right where those little white holes are, or little white parts are on the cylinders. So I put my white glue on there, and I've touched off the excess, and then just went ahead and popped this right in there with some tweezers. And just make sure it's sitting correctly. Again, the glue dries fast enough, but yet gives you time to move things if you really mess up. And there it is. And that must say that dresses it up considerably. It looks pretty cool. I really like it. So the exhaust is on. Now I'm just trying to show some details I put on here without filming because they were hard to do. There's a little, like some kind of venturi or something. There is a piece of brass that's bent and goes up into the radiator. There's another return radiator hose. I don't know if it's actually the return or the other, but the circulating radiator. So there's two hoses that go in the radiator, which makes sense. Here you can, I didn't do a good job here, but those pieces there I'm outlining are fuel lines. So in the real airplane, there's a gravity fuel tank in the top wing, and those go down, I guess, into the engine. I put on my wheels. I changed them. I made them smaller because they were too big and looked dumb. And then I also made the spreader bar thinner. And then I rigged it with easy line. You can look in the Nieuport video and see how that was done. And very easy. All the rigging is done. The next thing I want to do with it, though, is put on turnbuckles. And I did a different thing. And you can see if you think it's any good or not. Put aileron horns on either side. Those are paper cut out. They look really good once they're done. And then there's some things I need to do. Like I got to put on the windshield. That's not done yet. I have to put seat belts in there. And the model didn't come with seat belts, but I can find some from another kit or make my own. But it's looking really good. There's also, right where I'm outlining, a place where you put, like, I think there's some kind of stiffener that goes on the stabilizer. And those are just pieces of paper, and they will go on there and look really good. But it's really looking nice. It's a delicate looking machine, but it's also quite formidable, and it's neat. It's beautiful and it's dangerous looking. It's a real neat machine, and it's real pretty when it's done. And the black, which I thought would be kind of boring, isn't. It's offset by that lozenge. It looks really nice. Oh, and right there, because the airplane, I got a photograph of the airplane, it has a rear view mirror. So I'm going to put a little rear view mirror there as well, just to make it a little special. And there's what the bottom looks like. It looks real pretty with all that lozenge on there. That pattern on those German fighters and bombers of the First World War, they're really pretty. I like them. Looking really nice, like a real Pfalz. Now, that little thing I'm pointing at is a aileron rigging point, and the little white piece is a piece of basically that white glue that's drying on there. So this is my attempt to make fake turnbuckles. So I took a little bit of glue, that white glue, and I just touch it where the turnbuckle should be. And usually it gets a blob, and you let it sit there for a few seconds. And then you can go back with your little stick and sort of spread it out. the ideas I'm experimenting with on there, I'm pointing out there are some that are in there that are drying. So I had them everywhere they're supposed to go. The reason I'm doing that instead of making actual turnbuckles like I did on the Nieuport is when I look at pictures, it seems to me that the turnbuckles look just like a slightly broader piece of wire. And so I thought, yeah, I'm going to try this and see what it looks like. Now I want to put this little spinner cap on the nose, a real good picture of it. That fellow there that I'm pointing at is Werner Pfalz. He was an amazing ace from the First World War, and he flew the Pfalz for a little while. So what I did with this was sand off that tip, make it a little flat, and then took my punch, cut out some extra black color I had, 3 of them I think I used, and just glued them together. And glued them together, and then I colored the edge with a little bit of marker, and then I punched out a little tiny piece of oh no, I'm sorry. Then I just glued this to the tip, and this just goes right to the tip. It hides some of the petal, but it still looks fine. It's actually nice to have it on there, and looks pretty good. So now it looks much more like that picture that I see. And it looks nice on the front end. So here you can see the rigging, and you can see I've painted them like that one. You can see it's a brass. Now you can't see it, but you could see it for a split second. A little bit of brass color there. I painted over the dry paint. There's a good shot next to the rigging on the fuselage. This is one of the stabilizers that I cut out that goes onto the stabilizer. It's a brace, stabilizer brace, a stiffener, I guess. And I'm just kind of bending it where there's a line on the little piece. And then I put a little glue on, and I'm gonna kind of smoosh this on to where it's supposed to go, which is right along that kind of slightly dirty line that Matt 77 has put on there. Looks like it's kind of airbrushed on there. Put that on, make sure it's straight and matches the other side, which I've already done. And then you just turn it over, put some glue on the other part, and pop it in on the other side. There's really not much left to do on this puppy. There's a few little details I gotta do, but they will go pretty quick. Seat belts, windshield, a little touch-up painting, but it's amazing. It's going to be done pretty quick. I think the next little video will be able to show it basically being done. I'll just point out some of those things. The problem is putting on some of those things is very tedious and just difficult to film. So I'll probably just show them to you next, and then if you followed this far, you definitely could put that last stuff on. That would not be a challenge. You just take your time, just little things. Anyway, there's the stiffeners, and she is ready to be finished.